What's going on, guys? I hope you are having a great day out there. Today, guys, we're going to work on the Outcast 4S. Finally got some shock oil in here. We're going to do some work on the front shocks on this thing because it's a little too soft for my liking. And I'm also going to pop open the motor and, well, not the motor, but the gear case and see what pinion is in there because, honestly, I don't even know stock. And we're going to gear this thing up a little bit and probably turn the punch up and also turn the brake strength down a tiny bit. If you wonder why, yeah, this is probably my favorite candy. It's close to Halloween, Reese's. And, of course, had to have my Red Bull. But anyway, guys, we're going to pop this thing open, get working on it, and see what we can do with the Outcast for us. First thing we're going to do is work on the front shocks. From what I found out, there's like 41 or 42 weight oil in the fronts of these. And I ordered some different oils, and I got some 60s and 70s, and I also have 50. I think what I'm going to go up to in here is probably the 60. So I'm going to go from like 42 to 60 and see how I like that. If it needs to go stiffer, I got some 70 here, but I'm going to get the shocks popped off of here and get the old oil drained out and get some new 60 in there. All right, well, we got the two front shocks popped off of here, and they work the same way as the 6S shocks pretty much. You pop your little retainer off there, pop the spring off, and then pull all of your spacers out of there. And then unscrew the top cap, drain your oil, put the new stuff in. Now, these shocks do not have a bladder in them. It looks like there's just a plastic or rubber O-ring at the top cap. So there's no bladder on the tops of these caps like there are on the 6S line. But come apart the same way, very easy. So should be simple enough. Now, I'm sure many of you know, but this is the order that you want your spacers back on. Obviously, your small shim, your large one. And then this one here has a special little groove at the end of it that holds and retains your shock spring on there. So this little one right here goes on last with the little ridge facing downwards. All right, well, we got the front shocks rebuilt and ready to go. Let's put them on, see how the front end feels now. Well, obviously I can't go out there and jump it at the moment, but just feeling it here on the bench has made a great improvement. The dampening is a lot slower. The rebound is still nice, so I think this will help this front end from slapping so hard on the ground. So feels pretty good. On the next batch, I get to test it out here. Hopefully I'm going to take the ramp out this weekend, and I'll get to test this thing out there. But let's move on to getting the motor pulled out of here and messing around with the gearing, or I might get into the ESC settings real quick. I got to look that up again because honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, well, I pulled up the manual here, and two things I'm going to be working on is the punch and the brake strength. Now, the brake strength, I believe right now is at 50%, so I'm going to turn that down to 37.5, and I'm guessing the punch right now is at level 4, so I'm going to turn that up to a 5 and see how that gives that little low end snap that I'm looking for, especially if I'm going to gear it up a little bit. I want just a little bit more of that immediate takeoff. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the ESC settings here, and if anybody's not familiar with how to do that, you can pause the screen here, and this is how you get into them. But I'm going to go ahead and get in the settings and change these things. All right, well, I got my punch turned up to 5. It was at 4 in the stock setting, just like it's great out there, and the brake strength was at 50%, so I turned that down to 37.5. The BEC can't be changed, and I'm not going to mess with anything else. So got the ESC settings changed to where I think I'm going to like them, but only time will tell. So next is get the motor pulled out of here and see what pinion is in there, because I'd like to go up at least 1 or 2 more teeth to get a little more top speed out of this thing. All right, well, I got the center drive shaft pulled out in the top center brace. I'm going to go ahead and remove the screw that holds in the red locker there for the motor and get that pulled out. I got the motor leads disconnected. And I'm going to go ahead and take out this screw. And guys, I do have the new M2C Racing prototype center brace here on the Outcast 4S. Now, I got a question for everybody, because I've had this discussion with many people. How many of you cut the slot in here for the rear diff to allow dirt to either get out and debris to get out, or do you think it lets debris in and causes more problems? Personally, I have never cut that slot in any of my cars, and many people have said, oh, you need to cut a slot in there, it helps let dirt out. Well, I get there's debris in there that kind of naturally gets in a little bit, and there's debris from the gears or whatever else might be getting inside that case. However, I have this feeling that cutting that slot in there allows small particles, sand, and other stuff to fly up in there, or on hard impacts for it to get jammed in there and now you're forcing dirt into there. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this little modification on the 3 and 4S line. I'm curious to hear what all you guys do. That's my feelings on it. Obviously, M2C Racing provided the slot here on the center brace if you choose to do it. I'm not doing it to mine, though. So just curious what you guys think. All right, so we got the whole motor assembly out of here. And this is one question I see people asking a lot and showing videos of on different social media platforms, asking, is this normal that this moves in and out like this? Yes, it does. This will move. It's natural. But this is what I'm talking about, guys. Right here's the slot you're cutting for and allowing any debris that gets into here, which is relatively sealed, that you're now opening it up and letting stuff get in. But again, you guys tell me your thoughts. I'm going to go open this thing up and check out the gear, and we'll see what I have here on hand to gear this up a little bit. All right, well, we got her opened up here, and I'm glad to see they do, you know, ARM had changed their motor mount design where it allowed you to use whatever pinion you like, that there wasn't set holes. So definitely a lot more flexibility with your gearing. I got to find out what gear that is and then go from there. But nice steel spur gear, but everything else in here looks nice and clean. I mean, it's only had a few runs on it so far, so far it still looks good. Okay, well, I got her all pulled apart here, and stock on here is a 13 tooth. I have a 14 and a 15. I think I'm going to go to a 15. I'm going to go 2 teeth bigger, leave the stock spur, obviously. I'm going to give this a try now and see what the speed's like and how it feels. All right, sorry, guys. I started putting this back together, and I was kind of on the struggle bus there for a while, trying to find the right pinion. I had lots of different pinions, but the wrong gear, like the Mod 1 and different stuff. I only managed to find one, and unfortunately, it was only a 14. So I only went up 1 tooth, and so I'm sure I'm going to be ordering. I'm going to go ahead and order a 15 and a 16, I think, just to have them, because I'm probably going to want a 15, I think is going to be the sweet spot. But I guess we'll see. But I got it all back together again, and I'm going to go and chuck it in here, and might take it outside here for just a moment and run it and see what the front suspension feels like, even though I can't really jump it, and see what it's like with the punch and the brake strength. All right, guys, we got it back together. Give a little test. I'll tell you one thing I noticed real quickly. She will really a lot easier now. You know, I'm really glad that they put those screws on the top roll bar, because they protect this thing a lot. But she's got a lot more snap to it now on the bottom end. She will really like nothing. Well, not always pretty. Right, well, now that we've crashed, the brakes feel good. They don't feel so touchy now. It's a little bit more balanced. Where you hit them, it doesn't spike it. So I think this 37.5 or whatever the brake strength is kind of the sweet spot for this thing. And Rich Duper Bash was telling me that that's where he had his set on, and he definitely knows what he's doing. So we're gonna try the same thing, and I'm definitely liking that. But guys, see how the gearing goes, and I definitely like the punch because it kind of gives it that bottom end snap a lot more now. But the next bash will tell for sure. But I hope you guys enjoyed a little shop time getting the Outcast 4S kind of more where I want it to be. But that's going to do it, guys. So until next time, y'all, be safe, be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.